because he wrote this poster in the 50s. Please read it. Let it sink in. That is how important we are, okay? So I am an ex-solicitor, city solicitor. I've also been, what have I been? Interior designer, assistant photographer. But also I wanted to tell you, I also worked in a private security company in London, whose major client was the Department of Defense, the United States, and the Ministry of Defense. And I was the legal woman there trying to put restraint to the male mercenary commercial side. I knew from the beginning I would only stay there 2 years, also because the year before I was living in New York and protesting in every march I could against the war in Iraq, which I was then, preparing the contracts for. Because we did the exchange of currency in Afghanistan, we were holding the Baghdad airport, we were escorting all the big heads over there. So, and I just thought, I'm a pacifist, so it was very interesting, worrying as well, to know some of the things that were going on behind the scenes. I was working with ex-SAS, ex-CIA. I think it helped shape me what I am today. What is the most efficient way to change, to make a change? It's always individuals, of course, because that you tailor it, you learn, it's a two-way system. But you don't have enough time to reach how many billion people in the world, Government, great, big umbrella, but so slow, and you get them to do anything. I should ask you, baby, how to do that. Get some advice. And so just our corporations, of course, they are so fast, they're so efficient, they are, international, they've got so many, global presence, and the boss says something, you do it. That's it. I was in there. That's why I think it's so important that collaborations grow, like Project One Way, but not only in one sector, in so many different sectors, not only in different professions, but also in different fields, in different classes, in different communities, different ages. Everyone is connected, we're all connected, and in fact, it shouldn't even be limited to humans, if you ask me. It should also involve animals and plants, quite frankly, but I'm right a bit, getting carried away. So anyway, eco-artivist, because that's my philosophy, that's what I do. I'm vegan, I only wear second-hand clothes, I haven't flown for 4 years. Lots of little things. It's a journey, really. It's a journey of discovery towards things that you can do better. And unfortunately, I'm discovering that there's not always a right way of doing things. There's not a right or wrong. It's like pros and cons in everything you do. And that's why it's so important to know what happens to something before it gets into your hands, into your area of expertise, into your life, and what happens to it afterwards. That's why we need the help of other people who know more about it. Art is essential in life. I think artists should be a part of every commission, every panel discussion, every single circle, because they not only have maybe this alternative way of thinking, but also they have this capacity to find a way to get through to people the best way possible, with the immediacy of that only arts have. Visual art, it could be music, it could be many others, but art is the very fiber of empathy and connection. Right, and it's as close as the universal language as we can get. And so, use us. This is the whole talk is just going to be to say, use me, use Caitlin, use us, to get the message out there and to get the community going. A rubbish artist is because that is what I use as material, my Trashure. Please feel free to use it. I'm going to have to implement it in the English dictionary. I'm going to have to get it, okay. And I'm also a waste mosaicist, and that, I think, what differentiates me as an artist from the rest. And that also where my battle in the art world actually is starting to finally pay back, whereby I'm starting to make people realize that art, artworks are just a vessel of art. So they don't need to have precious prime material to do that. Just rework the material into little tessera that usually are unrecognizable. So I love it when people ask me what they are and they're just, oh my God, really? So again, in my view, if we want to close the circle of sustainability, for as much as I hate that word by now, we need to create a connection of society, as I just said. And this is what I love about Project Unwave. A couple of initiatives that I do to also get people involved and try to shift the perspective from anthropocentric capitalism to a holistic communitarian system that is focused on the common good and health more than wealth, basically. Payment in kindness is whereby I started it in 2017, I think, and I was accepting eco-friendly gestures as payment towards my artwork. It was twice in 5 years, I think, until I just thought, well, I need to find something else, like more tangible, that people can do. I can tell them what to do, right, to earn a discount towards my artwork sale. And so I started doing BYOG, bring your own glass, and my PVs at all my events, and get the discount. And it's actually paying off. It's been 3-4 years, I think. Another initiative that I do is Art for Trash. And this is where I make artwork with the client's waste. It actually started in corporate settings, because obviously being a status list, again, paid back because I felt myself at ease, and I, you know, in those posh corporate offices in the city, and I had some connections, and I started, and I didn't know how they would react, and they loved it. I did with Adobe as well. They loved it because, first of all, they started, well, you know, again, as Kate inside, I wanted them to stop and look at what they didn't give a toss about before, just tossed away right away as a disposable item, and treat it as a treasure instead. Put it in the other bin, like a collection bin, you know, our waste collection bin. And they took so much pride, and there was such a sense of ownership in everything that they used, and they will go back into the piece and try to find it. And then financial offices moved it to the main, from the corridors to the main boardroom, because it was the best icebreaker with the clients, because they would, you know. Also, of course, I get in there, I try to infiltrate the system from within, because I think there's too many of us at the moment. It's a very regime, you know, going everywhere. So you can't really oppose it, you have to work with it and within it. So start with those rules and then expand, you know, and break the cliches. And what I did with them was, of course, you know, all these new laws on sustainability came in, and they were looking for ways to show they were more sustainable. So, of course, you know, I was perfect for that, you know, because they could just show it in the lobby. But the fact is that once I got in, I always found someone who really cared. They just didn't know how to get the thing started on a personal level, because that's what it is. So, and then I expanded also into schools. This is actually the Institute of Marine Sciences in Venice, which is part of the National Research Council. And I went there to do a residency 2 years ago, and it was under Project Maelstrom, by the way, where they were trying to find different, there were lots of businesses involved, so there was a lot of cash and funding there as well, though it was a EU initiative. It lasted for 5 years, and they were getting me involved as a bridge between scientists and the public, again, because they do realize the importance of art as a means of communication. And this is it. You should read this, because I've got to explain this to you, because all made with recycled material, all from the research vessel, Gaia Blue, from their research platform Aqualta, their labs, of course. There's also some debris from their arsenale premises from the 1500s. They were there, could not use it. And it represents like a spotlight on the seabed that actually shows a lifeless circle, whilst in the limelight is the present time, where, you know, there's some life, but some is dying, and then, of course, in the darkness, you see the ocean or the sea as we imagine it, romantically imagine it, as it should be, as it was, and as it could be if only we decided to act now. So, you know, this is the moment in which you have to choose what we want our future to be. And of course, the spotlight is science and skies. They didn't like it at first, the idea of using their own waste, because of course, you know, it's contradictory, but I love the oxymoron of having to use the rubbish that the institute produces in order to minimize their impact on the environment. You know, whilst they produce them, they have to produce them somewhat well. Again, it's not their fault. It's the fault of who produces those items. So again, if we only got to know people in other sectors, we can close that circle, we can make it better. Now, beauty of Project One Wave collaborations that we've had so far. Oh my God. So, well, Helen, we've seen quite a lot of each other. Elvin, we're going to talk to you later. Oh, 10% of what I make with the After Trash project, I give to Captain Port's Foundation. Okay, so, big fun there. It's thanks to them that I became vegan. So, then Andy, we were thinking of ways to replace mosaic tiles with the recycled plastic. Of course, we tried, so the adhesive would work. I wanted it to be working with traditional methods, so that actually mosaicists can use it without having to buy new machinery or replace it their practice entirely. And it could work indoors, but the adhesive is great, it's the same, but the cutting is a bit difficult, so we're going to have to overcome that. But I have, because I'm also I've lectured fabrication at the London School of Mosaics, where I graduated with distinction in mosaics and fine arts. And so, of course, I've got lots of students and connections, and they're all very, very enthusiastic about possibly using that. Again, as we know, if we use it outdoors, there is the risk that then they will brittle out, and go back into the environment. But indoors, it could be used. It could replace bizazzas. And then, well, who else have I collaborated with here? Yes, Amy, of course. This piece actually is made with lots of material that Amy has sent to me. Lots of Trashure, beautiful Trashure. And this is a offshore foundation cover for a wind turbine. Beautiful material to work with, actually. So thank you. And this is for you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
And this one instead, well, of course I collaborated with the Captain Port's Foundation, and in fact, this is a piece that is made with the gold snacks that we recovered from Project One Wave, which also, there we go, Violet, thank you, and Vicky, thank you, have been given me, and thank you for also, they sent me pictures identifying exactly what they were, where they came from, which was extremely important to me, obviously, because the more you know, the more meaningful the piece becomes, right? And again with Elvin, because funny thing is, I've been called into Project One Wave exactly when I was starting this collective, which is called Redefines Arts, which has exactly the same principle of Project One Wave, but it starts as an eco-artivist collective, meaning it starts with an art exhibition, but then it brings in scientists, historians, academics, activists, who else? Sociologists, a bit of everyone. Selvaggio also is part of the Redefines Arts. And we've got another 4 members. And that is also why I am here today, because I would like to bring in as many of you as you would like to participate. We don't have the funding yet, okay? So at the moment it's all pro bono, but we might find some, which is we might be able to pay for the expenses to get to London. It will be during London Climate Week in June, so between the 18th and the 28th. And the events will go on during the 2 weekends in there. And we already have a proposal, draft proposal, which is subject to change, of course, depending on how many people can make it from here as well. But we've got time to discuss. But please come and talk to me. It focuses on urgencies: energy transition, overconsumption, food independence revolution, climate injustice, really, but it's climate justice. This one is a test sample of Scottish textures, I called it, of the one big artwork which I would like to do for the Bringing Back Art exhibition under overconsumption. But it's also, I think, something that can be reproduced anywhere, in any public space. I use eco-friendly cement, but basically everything I do is as eco-friendly as possible again, from beginning to end, as Katie was saying. It's really difficult to be green in this case, but it is a mission. That's the whole point of it. It's not just the artwork itself, it's everything that it carries with it. So that's pretty much it, I think. Any questions?
I've got a question.
Oh, sorry.
No, not you escaped. I was going to raise it with your talk as well, Caitlin, about, to me, the power of art linking to policy from the most shallowest perspective of a politician will want a photo next to that to put out, but it's how we can then use that opportunity, isn't it? How to use art.